Hey, there's smoke coming out of you. This isn't a small block Chevy, so I can't just go down to the store and buy more. The engine has to be exactly here for that header to come out. Today on the Dodge Garage, Dale's Demon is back! As with many stories, this one starts in the middle and ends whenever I get bored, I guess. For a good few months, this car sat up on top of the 4-post lift, untouched, unused, collecting dust. I did take it out once this winter, on a decent day, forgetting that the 4-speed is failing and it's leaking everything from everywhere. Took the Demon out for dinner, which is awesome. Might be some weird charging system stuff going on. Whenever I hit the clutch, that happens, which is quite strange, actually. More on that later. Other than that, it's pretty much sat there since I drove it to Rocket and back, and well, the transmission started making horrible noises. If you don't know Dale's Demon, well, that would be somewhat surprising, but I've got a whole series of videos on this thing, and they're in a playlist called Dale's Demon. The short version of the story is, I'm the second owner of this 1971 Dodge Demon 340, 4-speed. It's B5 blue, striped delete, pretty low option car. Dale ordered it specifically to have fun and be simple and lightweight. And then, a year into owning it, he decided to go drag racing and was pretty successful. Successful enough to bring home some trophies, including this one, which is pretty cool. Dale owned this car from new until last year, when he sold it to me. That's 51 years. Very impressive. I've had it a year now, and I've been itching to make some changes, so I guess it's time to do that. The car is currently equipped with the original numbers matching 340, which is fantastic. It's actually been built for performance. It's got Edelbrock heads, aftermarket pistons, a relatively minor camshaft, all things considered, some shiny dress-up options. It's, nice. But this is not so nice. I wiped the top of the timing cover off and have driven it maybe twice since then. And here's what I have to show for it. The oil pan gasket is even worse. This engine was actually out of the car from the late 70s until about 2007. It's been rebuilt, but it really hasn't done many miles since then, and all the gaskets are slowly disintegrating. It also needs some freeze plugs, among other things. You may or may not know that I took this car back to the track last year. It was my first time launching off of a tree on an actual drag strip, and the times I was able to get kind of showed that they weren't great. Now, that could be partially related to the fact that I had absolutely no accelerator pump fuel, but that's another story. You don't know what you don't know until you do, and I didn't know that I'm not a very good drag racer. Now I do know that, but I also know that drag racing is fun, and I want to do more of it. In fact, from the sounds of things, I've got a group of friends, Mopar owners, who want to go to the racetrack, so that sounds pretty awesome, and I want to be ready. This is the Garbage Can Cuda. It's a 1966 Plymouth Barracuda with a 1966 Dodge Dart nose. This car was my first taste of fast, and I have every intention of building it into the drag racer it always should have been. In fact, I've made a little progress to that end, but well, it's nowhere near ready. In fact, it's going to need quite a bit before this ever sees the track. A floor would be a nice start. However, way back in July, I assembled the engine for the Garbage Can here in my shed, with every intention of dropping it into the car shortly thereafter. And there it sat, for ages, many months, collecting moisture and becoming sad. A few weeks ago, I found some new wind for my sails for the Barracuda project and decided, you know what? I need to just put this thing together because, well, if I don't, it's going to be in pieces for a decade. So I rolled the engine inside and got back to work on it. I started collecting various pieces from various sources. Bell housings, rocker arms, nice things. Oh, word to the wise, don't leave your performance clutch set in a lean-to where it can get rained on for 6 months. If you saw the video on building this engine, you know that I probably need to reseal the oil pan, but I still haven't done that. Anyway, not long after I rolled the engine in here, I realized that race season is about to start. In fact, it starts today. It's the first test and tune, and I kind of wanted to be there. So not long after rolling this thing in here, I realized it's pretty much impossible that the Cuda is going to the track this year. Right around that same time, I realized it's pretty impossible for me to get this 340 out, fully resealed and gone through, and good to go, back in the car, and get this thing to the track this year. So, problem solving. What if we combine these two things? A good, fresh engine, and a good car that's runnable as it is. This has some other added side benefits. I don't have to worry about windowing the 340 block. This engine already blew up once on a track in like 1975 when Dale missed third gear. I really don't want to do that again. That doesn't sound like fun to me. If anything happened to this original 340, I would cry. On the other hand, if anything happens to this 360, I'll unbolt the rocker arms and get another 360. I had been planning to rebuild the 4-speed in the Demon because it's toast. Or I could just use this spare 4-speed. I had decided to put this in the garbage can, but well, I'll just put it back in the Demon. The clutch in the Demon is toast, but I have options. I'm planning to use that diaphragm plate that I was going to put in the garbage can and remove the over-center spring because this thing has the hardest clutch in the known universe. But I might have to go with plan B. We'll see on that one. One change I've already made on here, testing the 750 double pumper. It's better than the Carter Edelbrock, but I don't know, there's still a weird hesitation, and I'm starting to suspect either a timing chain issue or, well, I think that MSD box might be a little goofy too, but I'm not going to worry about that until we get the new engine in here. Now, I have entertained thoughts of slapping these Edelbrock heads on the 360, but I'm not going to do that for now. For one thing, these are already bolted on. And for another thing, they're wearing the matched springs to that camshaft, and we also did some mild cleanup and port matching work on these heads, and I really want to see how they work. Are they any good? Are we any good at doing that? Let's find out. So that's where we're at. I need to button up a couple things on the 360, and then drill baby drill. I have a pretty optimistic timeline for this drivetrain swap. Today is Friday, April 7th. It's 7:30 in the morning. I'd really like to have this done tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen either. But the lift's open, so I better get to it. As part of this operation, I'm going to put the 488 gears back in the Demon. These are actually what Dale ran in the quarter mile in the day. Going 8th mile racing, this is definitely what we want. Now I just have to spend half an hour cleaning this horrible mess, and then we'll be somebody. Pay no attention to that. That's for something completely unrelated. You may have noticed this engine run stand in the back of various shots. I got this from my new friend Mitchell, the owner of that Barracuda up on the lift right now. I had every intention of using this to break in the garbage can engine, but unfortunately, I don't have that kind of time. I'm just going to put it in the car. If I have any problems, we'll figure it out then. Hey, if anyone in the Western Washington area has a spare 70 to 72 Dart or Demon hood, let me know because I'd kind of like one to put a hole in for testing purposes. Yeah, sounds pretty good. Wonder what the new motor will sound like. Probably about the same, but slightly more or slightly less. All right, time to do stuff. Pro level tip here. Do not install used, mismatched clutch components in your drag race car. Just buy new stuff. Okay, are they gone? Yeah, this is cleaning up okay. Hopefully okay enough. I've been very hesitant to do this. Took me a year to work my way up to it. Anyway, just in case you've ever wondered what running your pinion snubber against the floor for years and years looks like, it looks like this. I'm gonna drop that a position, I think. Hey, I think I figured out the wander in the steering. Well, here's something I'm curious about. How much fluid's left in this transmission? Oh. Why was there pressure in there? Apparently the vent's clogged, so that's cool. Well, it's not the prettiest. Kind of looks like some metal and stuff, so that's good. Actually looks kind of milky. Here's the main reason I'm doing this. See that rubber's all just dry rotten and cracked to bits? Not ideal. Initially I thought, hey, I'll just put this gasket in and away we go. Till I saw the rusty freeze plugs and remembered the ticking sounds. I really don't think this engine's shot or anything. I don't think it needs anything major. It just needs more attention than I can give it in like a week, you know? The cavalry has arrived. And by the cavalry, I mean Byron.
Slow cavalry.
Every project needs a list, and we have one now. Division of labor. Somebody's got to pull the car apart, and somebody's got to finish the engine. So we decided I should probably be the finish the engine guy. So now I'm here. Not only are some of these tight on the shafts, but they're actually too wide and the stands are hitting, which is really annoying. So I tried to pull them off to clean up inside of them so they're less tight and, you know, clearance the sides a bit. And they're not really coming off and on these shafts because they are kind of D-shaped. So now this is happening. I'm dressing every single one of them inside on the sides and putting them on these new old shafts. After way more time than I'd like to admit, all of these fit on this now. And I clearance the sides there, so hopefully things fit better. Of course, there's still a whole other side to do. Yay! These aftermarket crane rocker shaft hold downs are a lot of things, but cast flat isn't one of them. Anyway, they're getting better. Yeah, I mean, the witness marks kind of tell the tale. Byron's been hard at work over here. This is getting close. Basically down to headers and wiring and distributor cap and that sort of thing. Meanwhile, I'm still in rocker arm hell. These clean, shiny push rods with red marks on them are some of the original push rods I took out of the 340 when I removed these crane rocker arms. This engine currently has factory-style stamped steel rockers, non-adjustable of course, with factory-style ball-to-ball push rods. Wasn't able to use these. The other thing that was a little not ideal, they rubbed on the cylinder heads. These are just reproduction 273 adjustable rocker push rods. I was going to run these anyway because, well, steel beats aluminum and I didn't figure there'd be a problem there. Luckily, I decided to check, and when you spin them in there, a lot of them are kind of doing this wobble number, but it's not what you think. I don't know if we'll be able to see this, but with the arm down, see that wobbling in there? Let's see if I can do that slower. There you go. You can clearly see it moving side to side. Well, the rod isn't actually bent. The end isn't square. You can see the whole thing moving around the cup there. I'm probably not going to see 7,000 RPM with this 360, but I am planning to see 6, and I don't think wobbly push rods is what we want. So I went to my pile of used 273 push rods, most of which were sitting outside for the last 20 years, and I found the ones that weren't S-shaped, and then cleaned them up. Hopefully they're good enough. And this is why I hoard things, because this isn't a small block Chevy, so I can't just go down to the store and buy more. That one's not as bad as those other three, but come on. It's a new part. That's fine. I'll take the 50-year-old originals. They're good. If I'm only ever able to teach you one thing, I hope it's this. Check everything. Every part you install. Especially in an engine, and especially if it's new. Well, all the stuff's loose. Probably. So let's see if the 340 wants to come out. Okay, a couple notes here. Take your shifter out before you try to pull the drivetrain. And shifter retaining bolts, they actually should be tight. And if both of them have nuts on them, that would be good too. Anyway, this is a bit of a dance. Hey, there's smoke coming out of you. We ended up loosening the header from the flange down there and, well, it might work. Note to future Jamie, the engine has to be exactly here for that header to come out. The throttle bracket's kind of on the wiper motor, but I think that's fine. Hey, look, it's out. Kind of sucked, but it's out. I have some questions about this. Somewhere, someone's missing a rag. Remember that freeze plug I mentioned? Yeah, it's not very good. That would have been impossible to do in the car with the headers in place too, so. Oh well. There's all kinds of interesting stuff happening here. Casting date on the original 340, 7/2/70. That's about 5 months before the production date on the car, I think. This is the original numbers matching 340. The VIN stamping here confirms that. Funny story though. I swear Dale told me that this was the original 4-speed and the one over there is not. But that's incorrect. This is a 1973 unit with a totally different VIN. And this unpainted unit over here with the ghost of the original production line markings and paint dots is actually the VIN matching original 4-speed. So that's cool. Anyway, the one coming out is messed up. Hopefully this one's less messed up because it's going in. Well, we got the clutch out and something is weird here. And I'll tell you why. Like most of the meat has gone off this flywheel. The thing's shot. Significant heat checking on the pressure plate there, so well, that's not good. I've seen worse, but we're not gonna use any of this. Interestingly enough, the clutch only seemed to be really doing stuff here. The wear marks on the friction disc seem to suggest that. And ditto this horrible hot stripe on the pressure plate. That's gnarly. I don't know if that was caused by the contact warping this disc or something wrong with this pressure plate, but either way, it's not good. Hopefully that other setup over there is better. All right, now we're doing some minor surgery. We're gonna put the shift cover and the shift forks in that transmission, pull the shifter off, and then we're gonna attach it to the 360. All right, I got the new side cover gasket. Pilot bushing from collection installed. Okay, our new old, slightly less rusty clutch is installed. Hopefully it's good. I'm gonna cross all on my fingers and install the transmission now. All right, time to do the thing. Don't break your neck. Yeah. Steady. Yeah, it's kind of an interference fit. Did you know that headers in an A-body suck? Even if you spend $700+ on TTIs, they still suck. Yay, we did it! Yay, we almost did it. I guess we should finish installing the engine. Look at all that success. Okay, before we get too excited, I'm gonna pre-lube the engine, which I did fill with oil. I'm gonna use this custom-built priming tool. The distributor and distributor drive are out, so this will go all the way down somewhere where there's a hole and click into the oil pump, like so. With the drill installed, pre-lubing can happen. You can tell the pump is working by the way the drill bogs down. Now that it has pressure, I need to turn the engine over twice so that the oiling holes to the top end line up, and those shiny new rocker shafts will be filled with lubricant. That's one, and I didn't even cover Byron's header in it yet. Look, it's got a carbonator and a distributor, and headers almost. Wow, it's almost like an engine. Well, 13 hours later, it's almost done, but not quite. The list looks like this, so I'd say that's pretty good. Hey, it's day 2, and this thing's like almost ready to run or something. We do still have to do all the underneath stuff, but that's fine. Going up. Well, we're gonna go ahead and put a pin in changing the gears because we're out of time and we really want to make roomy noises. So drive shaft's back in and Byron's doing the most annoying job possible while I put together transmission linkage. We slightly modified the clutch guard, so I'm gonna leave that off for now. It's kind of nice being able to see what's going on in here anyway. And this thing's not gonna see a bunch of road miles. I do still need to fix this, probably. It's supposed to have washers top and bottom, so that's what's going on there.
You might want to manhandle
this guy's here doing stuff. It's nice.
We're gonna speed him up.
It'll either start now or it won't. Let's find out which. Okay, watch for fireballs. That's too much. That's still too much. I went the wrong way. That's funny. What's that sound?
What's that noise?
Starter. The starter is in the flywheel with this new flywheel, and that's a problem, so I put a washer under it. like it. Well, there you have it, folks. A running 360 in the Demon. Unfortunately, I'm totally out of time for a test drive, and I still have to pull the over center spring and put the shifter in, so that's just gonna have to do it for now. We're already to temp, circulating coolant. It's all good. Almost 50 PSI oil pressure at hot idle, so I guess I did an okay job building it. Yeah, it's letting out a few smells, but that's fine. Anyway, thanks to these guys for their minimum contribution to this operation.
I did so much.
Yeah, Byron actually did. And thank you for watching. And remember, keep the fluids inside your engine. Yeah, we'll do a teardown on this one later too.